There is no pain greater than holding on to someone who does not value you. It is a slow death, a quiet suffering that lingers in the back of your mind, poisoning your thoughts, stealing your energy, and breaking you down piece by piece. You wake up thinking about her. You go to sleep, wondering if she will ever change. You tell yourself that if you just try harder, if you just become better, if you just show her how much you care, maybe, just maybe, she will finally see your worth. But deep down, you already know the truth. You already feel it in your chest, in the way she treats you, in the way she makes you feel like an option while you make her a priority. You know that no matter how much you give, it will never be enough for a woman who does not see your value. And yet, you stay. Not because you are weak, but because you are attached. Because you have convinced yourself that she is special. Because you have invested so much time, so much effort, so much of yourself into this woman that walking away feels like admitting defeat. You don't want to start over. You don't want to feel the emptiness. You don't want to face the reality that she was never truly yours. So instead, you cling to false hope. You hold on to the idea of what she could be, rather than accepting what she really is. And that is what destroys you. Because attachment to someone who does not value you is self-betrayal. It is choosing to suffer when you already have the power to walk away. But here's what you don't see. The longer you hold on, the more you lose yourself. The more you chase her love, the more you lose your own self-respect. The more you seek her approval, the more you forget that your value was never meant to be decided by her. Every time you accept her indifference, every time you tolerate her emotional distance, every time you let her disrespect slide because you are afraid of losing her, you are slowly killing the man you are meant to be. And for what? For a woman who has already made up her mind about you? For someone who sees your devotion as desperation? For someone who only values you when she feels like it? This is the brutal truth. You are suffering because you refuse to let go. You are hurting because you have given her power that she never deserved. And until you take that power back, until you detach so completely that her actions no longer affect you, you will remain trapped. But the moment you decide, the moment you truly accept that she is not yours, that she was never yours, and that she never will be, that is when you will finally be free. 2. The truth. She was never yours. The hardest truth for a man to accept is this: she was never yours. Not truly, not fully, not in the way you wanted her to be. Maybe she was there physically. Maybe she said all the right things in the beginning. Maybe she even made you feel like you were special, like you were different, like you were the one. But deep down, in the part of her mind that she never spoke about, she was never fully committed to you, and you felt it. You sensed it in the way she pulled away when you needed her most. You noticed it in the way she never matched your effort, in the way she expected love without reciprocating it, in the way she always kept you just close enough to keep you attached, but never close enough to truly let you in. And yet, you ignored the signs. You told yourself that maybe she just needed time. Maybe she had been hurt before. Maybe if you just loved her the right way, if you just showed her that you were different, she would finally let down her walls and choose you the way you chose her. But that day never came. Because that day was never going to come. Not because you weren't enough, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because she never saw you as the man she truly wanted. And that is what you have refused to accept. Because accepting it means letting go. Accepting, it means admitting that you wasted time. Accepting, it means confronting the brutal reality that you are always replaceable in her mind. But here's the truth. Women do not let go of men they truly value. They do not risk losing them. They do not play games. They do not ignore them. They do not take them for granted. If a woman ever made you feel like an option, if she ever made you question your worth, if she ever made you wonder whether she truly cared, then she never truly did. And that is not something you need to fix. That is something you need to accept. Because the moment you accept it, the moment you see that she was never yours to begin with, that is the moment you take back your power. That is the moment you realize that the pain you are feeling is not from losing her. It is from clinging to an illusion that never existed. She did not belong to you. She belonged to the moment. And the moment is over. The sooner you stop chasing something that was never meant to stay, the sooner you can free yourself from the suffering you are putting yourself through. Because that is the greatest lesson of detachment. It is not about rejecting love. It is about recognizing when love is not real. And once you see that, You will never hold on to something that does not hold on to you. 3. Why emotional attachment destroys your power. A man's greatest weakness is not his lack of strength, his lack of intelligence, or his lack of success. His greatest weakness is emotional attachment to a woman who does not value him. Because when a man becomes attached, he becomes blind. He loses his ability to see reality for what it is. He starts justifying things he should never tolerate. He accepts treatment that he would never allow in any other area of his life. He begins making excuses for her coldness, for her disrespect, for her lack of effort. And in doing so, he sacrifices his own power. Because a man who is emotionally dependent on a woman is a man who has already lost control. Think about it. What happens when you attach yourself to a woman who doesn't truly care? What happens when you make her the center of your happiness? You stop leading. You stop focusing on yourself. You stop making decisions based on what is best for you. Every action you take, every thought you have, every choice you make is centered around what she thinks, how she feels, whether she is happy or not. And without even realizing it, you have placed her above yourself. You have made her the source of your validation. You have given her the ability to control your emotions. And the moment she senses that, she loses all respect for you. Because a woman cannot respect a man who has given away his own power. This is why emotional attachment is so dangerous. It turns a man into a beggar. It makes him accept less than he deserves. It makes him ignore red flags. It makes him tolerate being ignored, disrespected, treated as an option. It makes him afraid to walk away, even when he knows he should. And that fear, that is what destroys him. Because a man who is afraid to lose a woman is a man who has already lost himself. And no woman, no matter how much she once liked you, will ever desire a man who has lost himself over her. The men who are truly respected, the men who are truly desired, the men who hold real power, they are the men who remain in control of themselves. They do not allow their emotions to dictate their actions. They do not become weak in the presence of a beautiful woman. They do not seek approval. They do not need validation. They do not attach their worth to whether or not a woman chooses them. They are centered. They are focused. They are in control. And because of that, they are never ignored. They are never disrespected. They are never seen as weak. But the men who attach, the men who become emotionally dependent, they always lose. Not because they are bad men, not because they are not worthy of love, but because a man who gives away his power is a man who no longer has value in a woman's eyes. A man who worships a woman will always be beneath her, and a man who is beneath her will always be replaceable. This is why detachment is so important, because the moment you detach, the moment you remove your emotions from the equation, you regain your power. You stop reacting, you stop chasing, you stop seeking validation, and in doing so, you become the man who is in control once again. 4. Breaking the illusion. She is not special. You convinced yourself that she was different, that she was one of a kind, that she had something no other woman had. Maybe it was the way she looked at you. Maybe it was the way she made you feel in the beginning. Maybe it was the connection you thought you had, the late night conversations, the way she laughed at your jokes, the way she made you feel like you finally found someone who understood you. And because of that, you put her on a pedestal. You made her the exception. You told yourself that she wasn't like the others, that she was worth the effort, that if you just proved yourself, if you just held on a little longer, if you just showed her how much she meant to you, she would finally see your value. But the harsh truth, she was never special. You just made her that way in your mind. Because the reality is this: no woman is inherently special until she proves it through her actions. And if a woman does not value you, if she takes you for granted, if she ignores you, if she disrespects you, if she treats you as an option, then she is not worthy of the pedestal you placed her on. The only reason you think she is special is because your mind has been programmed to believe that she is rare. And that illusion, that false belief, that is what is keeping you stuck. Think about it. How many times have you excused her bad behavior? How many times have you justified her indifference? How many times have you told yourself that she was just going through something, or that she needed space, or that she would come around if you just gave her time? You were not seeing reality. You were seeing what you wanted to see. And because of that, you allowed yourself to be disrespected. You allowed yourself to be treated as less than you are. You allowed yourself to believe that she was the prize, when in reality, the only thing rare in this situation was your willingness to give your heart to someone who never deserved it. Here's the truth that will set you free. There are millions of women in the world. Millions. And yet, you convinced yourself that this one woman was somehow irreplaceable. You convinced yourself that you would never find another like her, but that belief is a lie. Because once you take away the emotional attachment, once you strip away the illusion, what are you left with? Just another person. Another human being who, like everyone else, is flawed, imperfect, and replaceable. She is not the only beautiful woman in the world. She is not the only woman who can make you laugh. She is not the only woman who can make you feel understood. But as long as you keep believing she is, you will remain emotionally trapped. The moment you truly understand this, the moment you fully internalize the fact that she is not special, that she was never the only one, that she is no different from the countless other women who would treat you better, respect you more, and appreciate your presence, that is the moment you break free. That is the moment you see clearly. That is the moment you stop longing for someone who was never worthy of your energy in the first place. And that is when you finally begin to detach. 5. Mastering detachment. The art of not caring. Most men think detachment means pretending not to care. They think if they ignore her texts, act cold, or post pictures to make her jealous, they are in control. But that is not real detachment. That is still seeking a reaction. That is still playing the game. That is still letting her existence dictate your actions. And as long as you are doing that, you are still attached. True detachment is not about acting like you don't care. It is about actually not caring. It is about reaching a level of emotional control so powerful that whether she stays or leaves, whether she notices or ignores, whether she regrets or forgets, it does not change anything in your world. The reason most men struggle with detachment is because they are still looking for closure. They still want her to acknowledge what she lost. They still hope that one day she will realize what she did and come back. But that hope, that is the final chain keeping you bound to her. Because the moment you stop hoping, the moment you stop waiting, the moment you accept that she may never care and you genuinely do not care either, that is the moment you are free. Because detachment is not about silence. It is about emotional indifference. It is about reaching a point where even if she texted you right now, even if she begged for another chance, you would feel nothing, not excitement, not anger, not validation, just nothing. This level of detachment is rare because most men have been conditioned to believe that their emotions are a sign of love, that their attachment is proof that they cared. But attachment is not love. Attachment is weakness. It is allowing something outside of yourself to control your mind. It is giving someone else the power to dictate how you feel. And a man who gives away that power, he will never be free. Because if one woman can control your emotions, then any woman can. And as long as your happiness depends on the presence of another person, you will always be at their mercy. But the men who win, the men who hold true power, they are the ones who are self-contained. Their emotions are their own. Their happiness is their own. Their confidence is their own. And because of that, they are untouchable. No woman can break them. No rejection can shake them. No silence can hurt them. Because they have mastered the art of not caring. And once you master this, you will never chase again. You will never wait again. You will never feel attached again. Because you will have finally understood that the only thing worth being attached to is yourself. 6. The mindset shift. You are always the prize. The moment everything changes is the moment you realize you are always the prize. Not her, not the relationship, not the attention, not the validation, not the love you were chasing. But you lost sight of that. You convinced yourself that she was the one who needed to be won over. You believed that if you just worked hard enough, if you just proved yourself, if you just gave her everything she wanted, she would see your worth. But the truth, she was never the prize, you were. And the fact that you ever believed otherwise, that was the only reason she never valued you. Because the men that women chase, the men that women regret losing, the men that women never forget, they are the men who never seek validation from anyone but themselves. They do not beg to be chosen. They do not compete for attention. They do not prove themselves to anyone. They exist in a different reality, one where they already know they are valuable, whether a woman sees it or not. And because of that, they are always in control. They walk through life with a quiet confidence that cannot be shaken. They do not ask for respect, they command it. They do not chase love, they attract it effortlessly. And because they are rare, because they are uncommon, because they do not give their attention to just anyone, they become the kind of men that no woman can ignore. But you gave your power away. You handed it to her on a silver platter. You put her above yourself. And in doing so, you became forgettable. Not because you weren't good enough, not because you weren't worthy, but because you did not see yourself as the prize. And a man who does not see himself as valuable will never be seen as valuable by anyone else. But here is where everything shifts, because you are done playing that role. You are done placing women above you. You are done seeking what should have been freely given. You are done being an option in someone else's life. From this moment forward, you are the prize. And that means you no longer tolerate indifference. You no longer explain your worth. You no longer try to convince anyone to see your value. Because the reality is this: the moment you stop trying to be chosen, you become unforgettable. The moment you stop proving yourself, you become rare. The moment you stop chasing, they start chasing you. And if she ignored you, if she took you for granted, if she treated you like an option, she was never worthy of you in the first place. And by the time she realizes that, you will already be gone. 7. The power of indifference. When she feels your absence, nothing destroys a woman's ego more than realizing she has lost access to a man who no longer cares. At first, she doesn't notice. She assumes you're still there, waiting, hoping, lingering in the background, like every other man who has given her attention in the past. She believes she can come back anytime she wants, that she still holds a place in your mind, that she can ignore you without consequence. But then, something changes. Days pass, weeks go by, and suddenly she realizes you are no longer watching, you are no longer waiting, you are no longer affected, and that is when she starts to feel the weight of your absence. Because here's the brutal truth: women only value what they fear losing. And as long as she believes you are still emotionally available, as long as she believes you are still attached, she has no reason to regret ignoring you. She has no reason to question herself. She has no reason to feel your loss. But the moment she senses that you have truly moved on, the moment she realizes that her presence or absence no longer affects your life, that is when her mind starts playing tricks on her. She starts to wonder, was I wrong? Did I misjudge him? Did I just lose something valuable? And that feeling, it eats away at her. Because women are wired to desire men they cannot fully control. They crave the attention of men who are indifferent to them, and nothing is more unsettling to a woman than realizing that a man who once wanted her now feels nothing. Not anger, not love, not hate, just indifference. Because when a man is indifferent, it means he has options. It means he has moved on to something better. It means he no longer sees her as valuable. And when that happens, she starts to regret. But here's the key: you cannot fake indifference. You cannot pretend to move on while secretly hoping she notices. You cannot post things online trying to make her jealous. You cannot block her out of anger and expect that to make her respect you. Real indifference is not a tactic, it is a transformation. It is reaching a level where she is no longer in your thoughts, where her regret does not matter, where her presence or absence means absolutely nothing to you. And once you reach that level, she will feel it, because energy does not lie. A woman can tell when a man is truly gone. She can sense when she has lost her hold on him. And that is when she starts chasing. But by the time she realizes it, you will no longer care. 8. The ultimate move. Becoming unreachable. The greatest mistake a man can make is allowing himself to remain accessible to someone who never valued him. Because as long as you are reachable, as long as she believes she can have you when she wants, she will never feel your loss. Most men think walking away is enough. They think blocking her or ignoring her messages will make her regret. But true detachment is not about playing games. It is about becoming so far removed from her reality that even if she wanted you back, she could never reach you again. That is what real power looks like. Not silence, but absence. A disappearance so complete that she starts questioning whether she ever truly knew you in the first place. Because here's the truth. A woman only desires what she cannot fully have. As long as she believes you are an option, as long as she feels like she can return at any moment, she has no reason to chase, no reason to regret, no reason to reflect on what she lost. But when she realizes that you are gone, not just physically, not just in silence, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that is when her mind starts to break. That is when she starts replaying every moment, every memory, every opportunity she took for granted, because now she has lost access to something rare. Most men will never reach this level, because most men cannot let go. They hold on to false hope. They keep checking her social media. They leave the door open, just in case she changes her mind. And that is why they always lose. Because a woman can feel when you are still attached. She can sense when you are still waiting. And the moment she knows that, she has no reason to chase you. But when you become unreachable, truly unreachable, everything changes. You stop checking, you stop caring, you stop hoping, you stop waiting. And in doing so, you evolve. You step into a new reality, one where you no longer need her regret. One where you are too busy, too focused, too powerful to even acknowledge her existence. One where even if she begged for another chance, you would not be interested. And that is what destroys her ego more than anything else. Because now she is the one who has to live with the regret. But you are already gone. 9. The Stoic Path. Never needing her again. A man is never truly free until he no longer needs anything from a woman. Not her attention, not her validation, not her love, not her regret. The moment you require something from her, whether it's closure, recognition, or a second chance, you have already lost. Because a man who needs something is a man who can be controlled. But a man who needs nothing, that is a man who is truly untouchable. And that is the level you are about to reach. The level where no woman, no rejection, no loss, no silence can ever affect you again. Most men never get here. They spend their entire lives chasing relationships, chasing approval, chasing women who don't respect them. They believe that if they just find the right woman, if they just prove themselves, if they just become what she wants, then they will finally feel complete. But that is an illusion, because the truth is this: no woman will ever complete you. That is not her role. That is not her purpose in your life. A woman cannot give you what you refuse to give yourself. If you are not whole on your own, if you are not secure within yourself, if you are not already walking your own path with purpose and direction, then no relationship will ever fix that. This is why you must master detachment, not just from her, but from the entire idea that your happiness depends on anyone but yourself. Because the moment you do, everything changes. You stop chasing, you stop waiting, you stop caring about what a woman thinks, what she feels, whether she stays or leaves. You become emotionally self-sufficient, independent, in control. And when that happens, women start chasing you. Not because you need them to, not because you are playing games, but because a man who does not seek validation is a man who naturally commands respect. And the best part, by the time she realizes what she lost, you will no longer care. Because this journey was never about her. It was always about you. About becoming the kind of man who cannot be ignored, who cannot be manipulated, who cannot be broken. And once you reach this level, you will never need her again. And that is what true freedom looks like. 10. Conclusion. The man who walks away without looking back. The greatest mistake a man can make is walking away while still hoping she follows. Because that is not real detachment. That is not true power. That is not self-respect. A man who looks back, a man who waits, a man who leaves the door open is still chained to the past. And as long as you are still emotionally tied to a woman who does not value you, you are not free. True freedom is when you walk away, not as a tactic, not to get a reaction, not to make her regret, but because you have outgrown the version of yourself that once wanted her. Most men think they need closure. They think they need to hear her say she was wrong. They think they need a moment where she finally realizes what she lost. But the truth? You do not need any of that. You do not need her acknowledgement. You do not need her validation. You do not need a conversation, an apology, or an explanation. You need nothing from her anymore. Because the moment you walk away and never look back, her opinion of you becomes irrelevant. And that is the ultimate power move. Imagine this: you disappear completely, not just from her life, but from the emotional grip she once had over you. You stop caring whether she notices. You stop thinking about what she is doing. You stop waiting for the moment she regrets. you no longer look at her as someone you lost. You look at her as a lesson you survived. And by the time she realizes that she no longer has access to you, that she no longer has power over you, that you are no longer even thinking about her, it will be too late. Because here's the truth. A woman only regrets losing a man who never looks back. She only feels the loss when she knows, without a doubt, that she can never have him again. But by the time she realizes that, you will have already built a new life, a better life, a life where she no longer exists. And that is when you truly win. Now, if you found value in this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. The man who never looks back is the man who always wins. Until next time, stay focused, stay disciplined, and remember, she was never your loss, you were hers.